here in this hour with Kai von Schroff, the Democratic strategist, and News Nation political contributor Denise Gitsham. Welcome both. Let's get into these closing arguments. Denise, we'll start with Trump. I know he was talking about immigration today, but doing the Rogan podcast allows him to appeal again to male voters, right? And then this weekend, coming here to New York, do this big Madison Square Garden event. Is that part of the close as well? How do you see it?
Yeah, I definitely see him as the ultimate showman, which he's always been since he first jumped into the political arena. And it's always paid off in spade. I mean, he gets earned media like no other candidate ever has because reality TV is his medium. So what better place to put those skill sets on full effect than at the closing days of a presidential campaign?
Now, on the Harris side, let me play that garbage can comment that she was alluding to in the clips you just put, because part of what she's trying to do, Kaivan, is draw this distinction and talk about Donald Trump's rhetoric on the campaign trail, and I wonder whether it's resonating. Let's listen.
It's just another example of how he really belittles our country. This is someone who is a former president of the United States, who has a bully pulpit. And this is how he uses it to tell the rest of the world that somehow the United States of America is trash.
So that's just one example, though, Kaivan, of saying, all right, two-part close. I'm going to draw this contrast and say you can't elect this guy anymore. And then the second part seems like tonight, this big event in Texas speaks to that with Beyonce and everybody else. Reproductive rights. Let's turn out female voters like they've never turned out before. Does she have work to do, though? Do you believe what you're seeing here with the Trump momentum?
Oh, absolutely. She has work to do every minute remaining until this election. But I do think it's worth pointing out the Democrats are the party of yes, we can. And Donald Trump, the Republican nominee, is calling America a garbage can. Imagine if one of the leftists on campus that Republicans like to freak out about said that America is a garbage can. You would see on Fox News nonstop, oh, the decline of the American youth, right? I can imagine that type of headline. But I think what we're seeing from her close, yes, she's having these huge events. I think people sort of miss that this is not to really speak about policy at this point or, keep hitting the message that she's made clear. She's, of course, keeps touching on every policy issue in all these major interviews. The goal is to get people at those rallies fired up so that within 24 hours, they go out and vote, because voting has begun in a lot of these swing states already.
Well, you use policy to do part of that, I think, if you're Harris, and that policy, again, reproductive rights could do that as a motivator, right? That's what she's hoping. But I get your point, your larger point, and I want to bring up issues here and talk about this a little bit, Denise. So on the tablet, I have the economy question. The last New York Times Siena poll came out today, and they were dead heat. They were tied nationally 48-48. But when they asked about the economy, what's kind of interesting to compare here is that, Trump still has the advantage. See that with his number here is at 52 in today's poll. But it's gone down a little bit. I mean, I know this is marginal, but you see Harris on this side of the poll went from 42 to 45. So in other words, maybe she's closing the gap slightly on the biggest issue. But again, larger momentum, Denise, we see it, we talk about it every day, seems to be with Trump.
I mean, it feels like that. And certainly House Democrats are saying that not so privately anymore. And we see a bunch of headlines today coming out about how concerned they are that they're doing so much better than the top of the ticket. And that a lot of people, their big donors, are pouring into congressional races because they're concerned she can't win. Look, who knows? This is going to be a get out the vote, game day sort of thing, where whoever has the best ground operation is going to get the people to the polls. The problem with Kamala Harris isn't so much that she can't find her message. With Obama, there was hope and change, and with Trump, there was MAGA, but she doesn't have a message. She's never coalesced around a message to give people something to actually vote for, other than I'm not Trump, isn't he awful? And I'm going to avoid every question you send my way. The problem with Kamala Harris is that people have no idea who she is. She doesn't even know who she is. She's a born-again moderate parading around who has been known for being a progressive for her entire career. And so when people don't know who you are, and they really want to know when you're asking for their vote and their trust, you really come across as somebody they really just can't invest in. And that's why you're seeing Democrats worry about this. It's really not the Republicans that are saying that, it's the Democrats that are saying
Born again moderate is a good use of a political term, good spin on words, no doubt about it. I want to ask you, though, Kaivan, and it sets it up perfectly for this question, you to kind of put things in perspective, is you respond to that. What is the message? Because to some extent, Denise is right on the point that it might not be enough to say don't vote for Trump, he's dangerous. You have to go and, with certain voters at least, say, all right, vote for me because. What's the message?
I don't really think so. I just got to push back on that, though, because it's just a talking point, and I have great respect for Denise. But Donald Trump donated to Kamala Harris when she was running for Attorney General. Is he a born-again, radical, extremist Republican? Donald Trump was a Democrat. Donald Trump is having secret conversations with Vladimir Putin where he gets told what to think. So we don't know what Donald Trump thinks or who he is either. So I think it's a total mischaracterization. What Kamala Harris needs to do is she needs to turn out the vote. She has the cash to do it. She has the momentum to do it and the excitement to do it. I think, you know, Democrats are happy to have the narrative be we could lose because they want people to go show up. The reality is it's only media that views a tie as losing for Kamala Harris. It's neck and neck. It's a close race. The headlines say Harris is struggling. It's 50-50. How is it Harris struggling? Trump is struggling.
The trend-wise, it's moved towards, I mean, it's moved away from Harris and towards Trump. There's no doubt, but you're also right.
And tomorrow it'll be different.
On the idea, well, maybe, but the idea that it's 50-50, you're about right. I mean, we have, what, percentage-wise and odds like 52-48. That's nothing, right? So I think you're right that if Harris turns out, especially female voters, you see the Times poll, the dead heat, in the suburbs, with reproductive rights, does she still have a chance? Absolutely. It's a very close race. All right, Kaivan, thank you. Denise, thank you. Now, on this issue of